Hey everyone, Willie Clark here. Welcome to episode 15 of the Not So Silent podcast. As always, my two time-traveling companions. Say hi, guys and girls.
Hey.
Girl, guy and girl.
Guy and girl.
Hi.
Two guys, one girl. Ooh, we
stop.
picked the wrong name for the podcast.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Anyways, we're here to talk about the brand new episode of Doctor Who. As always, just a little reminder.
Spoilers.
Ooh, good.
I've been working on it.
That's good, Jinxie. Yeah.
I got the dress ready and everything for Halloween. Oh, I'm gonna look fantastic.
But yeah, full spoilers for anything that's happened so far this season in Who, including this episode.
Since 2005.
Yeah.
/ maybe
2005.
anything before that.
Yeah,
because of Jinxie.
Jinxie will sometimes pull in lots of knowledge from old Who because he's actually watched all of it where we haven't.
Not all of it.
So
most of it.
Most
Good
of it.
chunk.
I mean, he hasn't seen the episodes that like only exist on like one laser disc split into 70 parts at the bottom of the Baltic Sea.
No, I have that one.
Oh, you do have that one.
Yeah,
oh,
no.
okay.
It's the one splintered across the universe, and actually I have to go to the Ryane constellation next weekend to grab the last piece. I'm almost there.
Okay. I knew there was one you didn't
I
have.
tried finding the Dragon Balls to wish it back, but these people get to them too quickly. They're always gray.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm confused now.
Dragon Ball reference, yay.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Come on.
Okay.
I figured that out.
I will be spending the rest of the episode going, All right, let's go.
But yeah,
anyway.
So we're here to talk about The Girl Who Died, which had a very special guest star, which some people / everyone will probably recognize.
Pee Wee Herman.
Maisie Williams.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. Yeah, Pee Wee Herman was in this episode.
Maisie Williams playing a character whose name is not Arya, but is essentially Arya.
Yes, very typecast there.
Yeah, she was so typecast. Not even.
Girls all say I'm like a little boy. Like, oh.
And the boys all help me fight with them, but really I just make up weird stories, and then I tell a story that somehow makes me die.
Well, so if I can go off on a quick little tangent here, she actually commented about it, about like prevalence of strong female like roles, and how like a lot of female roles are to support like the male lead, which I agree with in most senses. What I find interesting is that her characters seem to attribute a lot of like male attributes in a sense, like they're very like tomboy-y, and I think that's very like contradictory to her statement, because I feel like they're not giving strong female characters. I feel like they're giving strong like tomboy characters and trying to take that male sort of thing going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, so the two things I actually did like this episode. I think this might be the one I've liked most so far yet this season. But specifically with her involvement, I was a little bit disappointed, to see her playing someone that was essentially throwing Arya in this universe. And two, I was a little disappointed that the setting was
so Game of Thrones.
Yeah, was very, very similar enough to Game of Thrones as it was.
Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I like Vikings. The Vikings were cool, and this episode
still very medieval.
Yeah,
though.
but it's still very. And somewhere a scholar is yelling, Vikings didn't live in the same time as the dinosaurs.
And they didn't have horns on their helmets.
But besides that, I thought that the setting was cool, and what they did with the fake Odin thing at the beginning, I thought was really cool. This had a lot of. The show is definitely, like I've said, it's getting really, really close to self-parody at times, and I think that's just because we've had Clara for so long now, and she knows the Doctor so well that a lot of these tricks and stuff he's doing is very they're
familiar to her.
Well, they're familiar, but it's also making fun of how the Doctor gets into these types of situations, like his whole we'll just use the yo-yo again, like the yo-yos worked before. And then, like, the real, quote-unquote, Odin shows up, which is just
the
kind
real fake Odin.
Yeah, the real fake Odin.
I honestly, though, I love the scene where they get captured. It was really interesting to start off with Clara just, like, floating in space in a really intense scene, and then just go to him wiping bug off his boot, and then, like, Clara, we're going with the Vikings.
Well, again, I will say, for now, probably the 17th time this season, though, and at least this time, instead of the Doctor just talking about a fun adventure, we started the episode at the end of a super fun adventure with Clara's trapped in space and him saving her and something. I don't remember what.
They're getting
something in her suit.
Yeah, that thing in her suit.
I can't remember what it was,
right.
But it was like a brain-sucking eating thing, whatever it was.
Yeah. So we're getting closer to those cool adventures that happen off screen. Now they're just starting episodes instead of him just talking about them. But I still thought that was funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a step back to what Jinx was saying with Maisie's character being like a tomboyish feminine role and how that's sort of defeating it. It's really interesting knowing that she said that. I didn't know that she had a quote like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does sort of foil her with Clara, because Clara is pretty feminine for even for the companions that we've had. Like, she's the only companion. I notice this because she dresses like I do. She dresses in mostly skirts and dresses.
Mm-hmm. She's just fantastically girl. She's just so. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, she's got great fashion. I really love Clara's fashion. I'm like playing so into the stereotype right now of like, oh, I'm the one female voice. I can talk about clothes.
I love clothes, so let's talk about clothes.
Yeah.
So I wasn't actually loving like what she was wearing this time. It felt kind of like just very.
I didn't really pay attention to
Speaking
what
of clothes, the Doctor's pants this episode were phenomenal.
I want them.
Yeah,
his plaid pants were absolutely phenomenal. But anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, she is kind of the feminine lead role. I mean, but she's always secondary to the Doctor, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Which is understandable, but there's also a lot of crappy male lead roles too, like Mickey. Like it's whoever's supposed to be sporting the main character. So I think both genders can be written very crappily. It still wasn't very sensory, but.
Well, and I mean, Doctor Who has taken a lot of heat for how it writes its companions, especially with.
See, I think that's
and
I think that's really kind of overblown.
No, I mean,
it's never really struck me as a super big problem.
I mean, I think people just don't like Moffat.
But even then, like, wasn't Martha a RTD companion?
Ugh.
Like that was the like. Everyone's like, wow, Moffat writes terrible women. And then you like go and like, it's like Martha was terrible. It's like, but didn't RTD write Martha? Am I wrong in saying that? I might even be wrong in saying that, but I thought that was in the RTD era because it was before Donna, correct?
Yeah, Martha was first.
Yeah, so
Well, I mean, I think I don't want to get too sidetracked here. I think a lot of people hate Amy, and I think that's because
she's abusive.
I feel like a lot of people hate Amy.
I like Amy as a character, but yeah, she's abusive.
She is abrasive and abusive.
Wait,
yeah.
which one? Which one are we going with? Abrasive or abusive?
Abusive.
Oh, okay.
She's constantly yelling and hitting Rory. Like, they have a very abusive relationship.
Doctor!
Yeah. Doctor!
I loved her scream.
Doctor! It's the Doctor Who. Mr. Freeney!
Yeah.
Mr. Freeney! Doctor!
Oh boy.
But anyway,
how's that Girl Meets World show go? Anyway, that's another podcast.
Yeah, we'll
different podcast.
But yeah, anyways, yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing.
We could throw that out there. Willie is searching for somebody to do a Girl Meets World podcast with him.
Yeah, I've been trying to find someone for 2 seasons now. No one wants to do it.
No one watching the show.
Have a super strong desire.
A lot of people watch the show. The show is like everyone watches the show.
Is your email in there? I don't know.
No, just
reach out.
Yeah, just reach out
to Willie because he wants a Girl Meets World podcast.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think, especially since she's young, she runs the risk of being typecast a lot and only being given the same roles over and over. And I assumed
switching back to Maisie Williams.
Yeah, back to Maisie Williams.
Attempting to.
And I assumed that, like, I don't know, I guess they were probably like, oh, we have this really cool part that's like a cool thing in the Doctor Who universe. It's like this younger character, and they were like, oh, we could get Maisie Williams to play it. That would be cool. But instead, it now feels like they were like, let's get Maisie Williams on the show. What can we have her do? If that, like, it you know, like a horse before the cart kind of thing is kind of how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not by itself necessarily a bad thing if they justify it. But I don't think it was, like, I don't know, her inclusion, I mean, she's a relatively big guest star for the show to get. But her inclusion right now still seems kind of superficial. Because it's one of those instances where I feel that, like, the audience cares more about her because of who the actress is than anything that happened to her in this episode. Like, if she was any other random like, if anyone else was playing this part besides Maisie Williams, I don't think people would care about this character at all.
I disagree. And I
don't
think
know.
the characters...
Why? They didn't give her anything really interesting to do. She's just this little kid who...
Remember, it's a two-parter. Remember, this is
I know.
setting up the story. Her development's coming.
They're definitely setting it up, and I'm very intrigued by what I've seen of the preview for next week's stuff. But I'm saying just from this episode,
they didn't tell us anything.
I mean, she's essentially like a
little demigod.
Well,
a Zorro.
It looked like
she's like Zorro.
It looked like there was a big ass planet in the sky shooting a laser beam in the preview, so that might have been a tidal wave.
Well, yeah. Oh, hold on. Well, let's put a peg in that. We'll come back to this tidal wave stuff in a second. But I mean, right from the beginning, Clara risks everything to save her instead of anyone else in the village, which is just she did. She jumped when the aliens came to reap people. She like the Doctor was like, just stand still, they won't see us, and Clara ran and like in front of all of them to try to save the girl.
She was trying to get her to open her handcuffs.
Yeah.
Maisie had the sonic sunglasses.
Or half of them. But I'm going to agree with Willie on the fact that not the premise was to get the handcuffs off. It felt very strange and forced. Like, you'd think in these situations she would have already known better, and she seems to always be the confident, I've been with the Doctor for a long time, I know what I'm doing, and then just like randomly that felt very, very forced from a writing standpoint. I thought that could have been done better.
Yeah. I do really like I did really like both Clara and Maisie when they were separated, and I actually think that they could have been separated from the Doctor for a little longer, because they had a really cool dynamic, and just the way Clara is stepping up, like, she's so quick now, and when she was dealing, with Odin, or did we actually learn his actual name?
Yeah.
Well, no, but he was the leader of... Sorry, my notes are scribbly.
Yeah, leader of the race. Leader of the Maya. Yeah. I didn't think we'd learned his actual name.
They're not leader of the Myers themselves as a race, but as like that little platoon type deal.
Yeah,
I'm also curious how that's spelled, because it's pronounced awful close to the Maya.
Mire is what the internet had.
Oh, okay. So it's not close to the Archangels in Lord of the Rings. Anyway,
Yay, another off-topic reference. Our viewers are already young.
But yeah, no, I liked the dynamic that those two had, and the way Claire is stepping into her own, they're still, I don't want to say they're really pushing this whole her being the Doctor thing, but I think they're just really, really pushing, like, a female could be the Doctor. Like, someone as strong-willed as Clara could do it. And
I have a very interesting thing to say about that I don't want to talk about right now. So
okay,
let's leave that on there.
I think your wording was really interesting on that. A female could be the Doctor instead of the Doctor could be a female.
I mean, but that's how they're setting it up. Like, I feel like the show feels like it has to convince people, and I feel like that's what they're doing.
So the MOF has come out and said, like, because he's always dropping these points, and like he's already switched the master, and he's mentioned, like, I don't cast based on like who I want the Doctor to be. I cast based on, is this person actually the Doctor or not? Like they said, like, we brought in a whole bunch of dudes for the interview for the master role, and then like Michelle Gomez just like nailed it. So
Yeah.
he didn't say that, but it was like, yeah, we interviewed people and Michelle just blew us all away. Like it's very.
And I mean, I think that's how I think that's really how it should be, especially for the Doctor. You have to be able to do the character, and
it's how it should be. But I highly doubt there wasn't any pre-consideration of like they had to like think about that conscious choice with the Master, and they'll have to do it with the Doctor too. Like writing the Master as a female like is a switch that they just have to be prepared to do, and they were, and that was great. But like I don't think it's something they can decide last minute. Like they can't just write the episode and then throw whichever gender is.
Well,
like the episode's going to be written a little different.
I think I disagree with that too. Not in like a general, like a couple like the little quip things might be different, but in an overall sense.
The dialogue more than like.
Yeah, but
I don't think like the plot isn't going to need to change, but.
If it was
the relationship between characters.
If it was Mrs. Doctor Who, it would just be about like having babies and like tampons and stuff, right? Like
and
that's
all.
No, yeah. the way Moffat has said he's been writing the Doctor, and I think it's actually really cool, is that he doesn't write like for Capaldi, he didn't write for Matt Smith, he just wrote the Doctor. So he doesn't really care about he does, but he doesn't really care about the actor's interpretation when he's writing, because he actually writes this as like who the Doctor is, like what emotional state he's in, and then let the actors go wild with it.
That's actually a good point. Let's start talking about that, Jinxie, because we got a lot of stuff this episode about who the Doctor is right now, and I think this is actually probably the most we've really dug into his character probably since the transformation, and it's kind of funny that it's taken them like a season and a half to get there. But they've said all along that they would eventually address the fact that Peter Capaldi was in an earlier episode of Who, and Moffat said that RTD had a plan for that. Whether or not this is the actual execution of that plan or not, I'm not sure.
Well, he said that he had a way. And I think the fans overblew it. No, that's not the had. What's the word? Someone help me.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. They
overdone it.
They hyped it too much.
Thank you.
They thought it was going to be.
They got on the hype train.
They thought it was going to be. And I mean, I think I did the same thing. I thought it was going to be some huge, mind-blowing, like, oh my God, like that's why this is how we're going to explain in this in universe. And I mean. The one thing is they really didn't have to explain it in universe.
No, like Amy was in that same episode as a priestess. Like they didn't explain that.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. They didn't have to explain it, but I feel like they
Wait,
just.
what?
Yeah, Amy was in. How
did I not know that?
And I feel like
her face was really like.
Her face was covered. Yeah.
Huh.
And I feel like those aren't the only two either. I feel like there are some people that have been extras. I mean, if they find someone they like, they tend to bring them back. But I did think it was interesting that they decided to do that. And before we got the flashes of Tenet, Rye actually said when we were watching it, she was like, this is very, very
Tenet.
like Tenet Doctor.
It's like, I don't know, just his emotional state is becoming more and more like the Tenet emotional turmoil that we've seen in the past.
Yeah. But so I mean, we finally
Moody Doctor.
Yeah, we finally get the whole like I picked this face because I'm supposed to save people. And so that wasn't the big reveal and everything that I wanted it to be. The one thing that the problem I kind of had with how they framed everything in terms of the Doctor's character this episode was he's talking to Clara, and Clara's like, you keep talking about these rules, how you have all these rules, how you can't bend them. And again, even that felt very, very, like, early, reboot for Doctor Who. Like, I have to be careful what I change. And then all of a sudden, like, a baby cries, and he's just like, I guess I'll stay here and change my mind. And then he does, when the same thing was after, Maisie dies, he's like, well, no, like, fuck it, I've remembered who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be this person who saves people and messes up time. And so it's just a very quick change of heart.
But it's not.
Change of hearts. Do you guys see what I did there? You see what I did there?
I see what you did. He's making weird hand movements.
I'm sure he is.
I don't think that's a new switch at all. Like, that was a running thing for a while. With Matt Smith, it's like the doctor is tough and stern and won't break the rules until a child cries. Like, I feel like that was a line that was thrown around often.
The fat blue guy whose name is escaping me right now.
Yeah, like, children crying have always been a huge drive of the Doctor into action.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reason... So, I think the problem I had with it is if we're going to have the same debates and it's going to keep coming up, like, there are rules, he's not supposed to break them, then the show needs to do something new with it. And this was, I feel like, no different than any of the other times. He's been like, I have rules, I can't break them, and then he breaks them. And this was just bringing it up again for what I feel like has been the first time in a little bit. At least I feel like it's been the first time Capaldi has directly addressed it. Like, I can't, with the whole tidal wave and ripples and stuff like that. And if you're going to bring it up and then have him directly go against it, and again, like, you mentioned,
I don't think it was.
It is a two-parter, so we could see it come to bite him in the ass later.
I'm a little nervous about that, actually. Just because this episode reminded me a lot of The Water of Mars in that regard. Like, you know what? Like, screw this. I can do what I want. I'm going to save all these people. And then it did not work so well.
So
in The Water of Mars.
I think the difference is he's unsure of whether or not what he did. He was firstly was unsure of whether or not it would really, like, repair her forever. In the most, like, grand scheme, he didn't probably think how long she would actually live. And you see at the end, like, he's like, I hope I haven't made a mistake. Like, he doesn't think this is going to be like the tidal wave type thing. So it's not like Tennant, who blatantly said, "This is a fixed point in time. Fuck it, I'm gonna kick it," and or poke it with a stick.
Well, it's funny that you bring up the fixed point in time, because that's the other thing. We haven't heard that fixed point in time bullshit in a long time, which was kind of like the holy grail of the Doctor can't mess with stuff, and then he started mixing with fixed points too.
And they always came to, like, go into, like, the end of the universe. So I feel like it's very set up now that mixing with fixed points is something you don't do. So now they're just, like, showing what happens if you don't mess with a fixed point, but you make a little bit bigger of a wave, sort of deal.
Well, and that's I guess what I'm curious is in the back half, in the second part of this two-parter. I don't want to necessarily say, a retribution or whatever for the Doctor, but are there going to be consequences? Because it seems weird that they brought up this rule breaking again, and then that he's so resistant to do it, and then he decides to do it anyways because that's who he is. So I kind of want to see some consequence here that's not just her living forever.
Well, I think there's going to be. That seems very clear from the pictures that there's going to be something.
Yeah, I mean, some shit's going to go down.
Yeah, we'll see what it is.
I think it's misdirection, though. I think that they're
possible.
trying to like say, like, oh, look at what's going to happen now, but it's actually going to just be something completely fucking random that's not even related to what he did, and he, like, realizes, it was fun. Yeah.
It's random. I mean, I think they've done a lot of misdirection with Maisie, because the first clip we saw her in, she was like, "What took you so long, old man?" And that wasn't even in this episode. It must be from the second one. So I think a lot of people thought she was, and they dismissed that she wasn't going to end up being the Doctor's daughter, but they seemed to be implying that she was going to be someone important to the Doctor's life.
Willie thought she was going to be River for a while.
Not for a while.
For the beginning of
the episode. For a little bit, I thought that she might end up being River. Well, and the only reason because is because
he brought the 2,000-year diary out.
And even the Doctor mentioned, what was it about deja vu?
Mm-hmm. You're just remembering in the wrong order.
He recognized her, yeah.
Yeah, you're remembering in the wrong order, and he definitely recognized her, and she, like, kind of recognized him.
No, I don't think she recognized him, but I think we're going to find out why he knows her.
Yeah. There's clearly he knows her for some reason. Now here's...
Which is implying that she lives for a long time, so...
Yeah, so here's
she can go get together with Jack.
And that other black guy from Torchwood that somehow managed to randomly get the same powers.
So here's my thought. Are you guys ready for this? And I'm not 100% positive if this could work logistically, but I think it would kind of make sense, and it would be very interesting. I think she may end up becoming the next companion. Because the Doctor...
Oh, yeah, logistically, that's...
Well,
filming two shows,
I don't know.
Both
of these shows, Game of Thrones and Doctor Who, have very set schedules. And she was able... I mean, she did 2 episodes of Doctor Who and Thrones. And I'm pretty sure that the way the shows are set... I don't know this off the top of my head without double checking. I'm pretty sure they don't film at the same time.
Well, aren't they finished? So George R. Martin needs to write some more, and that's never going to happen. So.
Well, yeah, that's also true. But here's the reason why. So one of the things is, obviously, we know this is Clara's last season, but the Doctor is very, very heavy-handedly been foreshadowing that every episode. He's like, what would I do if I lost you? What would I do if I lost you? I always lose people. I'm a whiny old man, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, Tennant, it was the Tennant breakdown. Tennant had this breakdown, too.
I know, but I feel like Tennant didn't have it before any of them left.
That was right after.
It was right after, and I feel like Capaldi's having them in advance of Clara leaving because the show knows she's going to leave, so they're setting it up.
Well, he's probably like, wow, I've been really lucky. Shit. This is gonna
yeah, well, I think it's actually funny you say that because she is now the longest running companion, and that could be some of it. He's realizing, like, shit, I've had Clara for a long time. Like,
why isn't she dead?
I'm on thin. Yeah, why isn't she dead? I'm on thin ice here. But my point being is that the Doctor has now created someone who will not die, like he won't.
I don't think she's gonna be his companion, and I think the reason I think that is because he gave her like a companion chip, basically. Like, he's making it so she can have her own companion that she won't lose. Like, he is constantly losing his. I don't think he's ever really. Mm-hmm. I don't think at least he thinks he'll take her.
Which is probably going to end up to be whoever she gives it to is the Minister of War. So I'm expecting that to happen.
Well, I mean, or maybe she could give it to Jack. Or
that's not why Jack lives forever.
Why does Jack live forever?
He was it was like a nuclear thing.
Oh yeah, that's
what?
Right. It was like a nuclear thing, wasn't it?
Which he got locked in, like Jack Harkness, like why he can't die.
No, it was first season Rose Tyler absorbing the time vortex from the TARDIS, and she actually made him a fixed point in time after disintegrating the Dalek fleet.
Oh yeah, the bad.
No, you're remembering when the one time where they traveled to the end of the universe and he had to like go into the radiation.
Yeah, I'm remembering when the Doctor realizes he can't die.
yeah.
But
yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. I mean, I could see the Doctor, her using that chip, like, maybe the Doctor dies and she uses that chip to regenerate the Doctor again and they get around, and then that permanently solves the Doctor's regeneration problem for a little bit.
Brilliant.
No, they'd be stuck in the same body, though.
Well, I said for a little bit. I didn't say forever. Or I could see Clara dying and then the girl using it on Clara to save Clara and then get a little time for that.
Nah.
But mostly, I don't know, but mostly I do think it's interesting that they could have just created a recurring character that lives forever. I'm not saying she'll definitely become his companion, but I just think that, especially the way the themes are all balancing each other out here, he's really, really worried about losing anyone that's close to him, and he's sick of it. And in his attempt to save someone, he's now created someone else who's cursed like he is, and he of all people understands that.
I think he understands it, but I think his way of rectifying it is giving her the chip. Like, I don't think that he's going to beyond that. And like, I don't think he's the Doctor can be selfish, but I think here he's not thinking selfishly at all. She is not Clara. So all he's thinking about right now is Clara. He's not thinking of the future of like, Clara's going to be gone and then this chick could be my companion.
No. I'm not.
It sucks to lose people. I'm going to make it so she doesn't lose people.
I'm not saying I think the Doctor's planning it out. I'm saying I just see it as something is a possibility. And I'm not sure. Like, we know we lose Clara. We don't know if he gets a new companion this season, so maybe it's not something they figured out. It could be something they're just seeding options for. But I do think it would be interesting for a younger companion, because then she could potentially be around for a while and grow with the show, which is something that I think would be an interesting concept. Now, I do caveat that with it. I don't know how exactly they're going to figure this out, but the preview definitely takes place in the future, and it looks like she hasn't aged any.
Right.
This was an issue I had.
So I'm wondering if the chip is going to make it so she can't age either.
I mean, it seems to be, but that annoys me.
Well, we don't know how far in the future it really was. Like, it still seems to be set in the same type of time.
I mean, it looks like Victorian England, which is a far cry away from.
So I have a quick
Vikings.
thing I want to say though before we get off, because we were talking about the whole chip thing and like what it does.
Yep.
I would actually, when the doctor's saying like I'm sick of losing people, I don't know whether or not that was actually like emotional distress over losing the small little storyteller, or actually like realizing he's going to lose Clara still. It would be interesting because we've seen him like do this before. Like, well, she was already dead. Like, what was I gonna do? If he was using a Shieldar, I think is her name, that the character Maisie plays, as a test dummy for like what happens when you make someone live forever, or something like that, like a test to see. It'd be.
Well, that's true, because, I mean, I guess we don't really know that there's only 2 of those chips.
Right, they were just in the helmet.
There should be one in each helmet, yeah.
So he like reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, which is a fantastic science phrase that they use all the time in the show. And it worked. So
science words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, his plan, the electric eel thing was kind of weird, but I liked how...
Oh, can we talk about the prophet baby?
The prophet baby. Yes, I too would like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I don't think the baby was prophetic. The baby was just talking about the fire water, because that's what the baby.
No, and she was like talking about what she was seeing in the future.
No, the baby just liked seeing the fire water. That's where her dad took her to help her sleep. So when she wanted to sleep, she was just crying about the fire water.
No, she was saying a lot more than about fire water.
She was being very, very eloquent, and I know the doctor was like paraphrasing, but still, it seems very.
I don't think anything that she said was prophetic, though.
I think it was. Was it? What do you think, Jinx?
I mean, it's prophetic in the sense that it helped push the plot forward. So, like, we can think of the baby as like, oh yeah, this is fire water. I think it was just trying to drop the hint early so that Capaldi could like magically be brilliant.
Well, yeah, but I thought she said something about like the baby was like, I see explosions and stuff like that, like actually seeing like war.
Well, I think that was due to like the people showing up.
Yeah, I think she was just like, I hear like people coming, like I think things are gonna go bad. I didn't think it was super prophetic.
And how like babies can sense danger.
Yeah. I don't know. I did think the whole storytelling thing was kind of weird too, because at first she was like a puppet maker, but then she told stories.
Well, what is a puppet maker
like,
but a
those were
intertwined.
totally intertwined.
No, but I mean, like, I don't know. At some point, it seemed that she was like mystical, because he was like, "Oh, you always tell stories to like bring people back, and it like always works," which I thought was interesting. And then I still don't quite understand. Like, I guess she just told a story and they broadcasted it into everyone's helmets or something.
Yeah, there were like psychically links or some.
Okay. The other part of that I thought was weird is when they were all like, oh, like, she thinks everything's her fault. Like, they set that up really, really early. Like, as soon as we met her, she was like, oh, I didn't think you guys were going to come back because of me. And I thought that was weird. And I still haven't quite reconciled that with the rest of the episode.
Wasn't it just because like people were like blaming her for things consistently?
No, they weren't blaming her. She always blamed herself.
Huh.
No one was blaming her. They were just like, she just blames herself whenever anything goes wrong in this village. And it seemed a weird attribute to apply to her.
Wasn't it because she just felt out of place? So she felt like it must be her because like she's not a boy, not a girl, and
I guess,
kind
but
of like a social outcast.
I guess maybe, but that doesn't make someone bad luck.
Well, it makes you think like you're bad luck.
Maybe.
I mean, Willie, you were a social outcast.
Guilt-ridden is not.
Yeah, but like I don't think everything's my fault.
I thought everything was my fault.
I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, it'll be interesting what they continue to do with her. I don't know if we know how many episodes she's around for this season or not.
Maisie?
Yeah.
It said 2 on IMDb.
Oh, okay. Well,
outside the universe sources.
I was gonna say Midna can update IMDb if she wants to.
She has. She's a jerk. What she said about me.
Yeah. So.
You leave a bad Yelp review, Midna.
Oh man, I just don't want. Never mind.
Terrible food.
But but yeah, so I don't necessarily know if that's something to go by. I do believe they did say originally that she was just around for 2, but that doesn't mean that she's only going to be around for 2. It could mean anything, or they just set her up with this and she'll come back. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean Jack Harkness wasn't around for every single episode, but he came back occasionally.
Yeah,
chasing the doctor with a severed hand, kind of normal.
But yeah, the other interesting thing, and obviously we don't know because it was just a preview, but it looked like Clara wasn't there next episode. It looks like it might be the Doctor and Maisie show, which could be interesting too.
Yeah.
But
maybe she's already dead.
What else? Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, with the girl who died, the girl who's alive, like they're definitely playing around a lot with that idea now. So.
Ooh. Sorry, I'm trying to look up what the baby said. But at the end, I didn't put this together. Jinxie probably did. But when he's like, I created a hybrid.
Mhm.
That's
like, one of the things that I was going to bring up is that this. I don't think this is true, but this could be the
another hybrid.
Yeah.
What hybrid?
Daleks were hybrid.
Right. Well, Davros said that there was a prophecy on Gallifrey that mentioned a hybrid race coming together, and then Davros kind of like self-centeredly said, "Oh, it must be the Daleks because we're amazing," and then the Time Lords. So it wasn't explicitly stated that it was to be that. That's kind of the running theme, is where the hybrid is. So that's what they're looking for. My guess is also that it's the Minister of War, because I just feel like the Minister of War is coming up.
Yeah, okay, what's this Minister of War stuff you keep talking about, Jinxie?
Oh, it was just a small like quip, and like I forget who he was talking to. I was like before, because she was calling back all the things that had happened.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is before what the hell?
Before the Minister of War. That's right. No,
yeah,
I remember.
And it was funny, just like
he's
like Minister of War is like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll find out about it later. And like I thought that was really tongue in cheek too, because he's just like, yeah, there's the plot point. We'll get to it later. Like it was like it was really funny and well done.
That's right.
So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I do want to point out 2 other things. The music in this episode was phenomenal.
Yeah, Murray Gold really hit it out the park there.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. And it was also really funny. It was I thought they had a lot of really good lines here. There was some really good stuff in this episode.
What was some of them? Let's see. Well, the yo-yo thing. We're going with the Vikings. What was another really funny thing? Oh, actually, I thought the diary thing was funny. But I found out it was even funnier because that's a running thing in Doctor Who.
The 2,000-year diary.
Well, not the 2,000-year, but like, what was it? I saw this on Wikipedia because I was bored reading, but no, there was a 500-year diary read by one of the doctors, and then another doctor had like an 900-year diary. So it's just so it's just like growing and growing, because now he's like 2,000 years old. So that's kind of a callback. Oh, the Benny Hill theme, like quipping back and forth with the video.
Yeah. All it needs is the Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean even that is like a very comedic like resolution for them. Like, we're gonna videotape them getting humiliated.
Mhm. That was fantastic.
Very comedic, but Any have you found what you're looking for? No.
I found a transcript, so yes.
And maybe the baby was being prophetic. That would be a very interesting plot device to get the overarching theme in.
He speaks baby. But yeah, I mean, the other thing that could account for the time and where they're going to be in time next episode is we don't know that this is Earth either. We don't know that these were Earth Vikings. Oh wait, no, do we? Did he say it was Earth? Now I'm changing that. He might have actually said that it was Earth.
For what?
I think I think he did. He was like, because if I mess this up, Earth could become a target. Yeah, so okay, I think he did confirm it was Earth. For a while, I was thinking we weren't on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess he did comment and address that. So.
Okay, I found it. I took this as prophetic. I'm not really sure though. Mother, I hear thunder. Mother, I hear shouting. You are my world, but I hear other worlds now. Beyond the unfolding of your smile, is there other kindness? I'm afraid. Will they be kind? The sky is crying now. Fire in the water, fire in the water.
Oh, yeah, I like that actually. That's a very good catch.
Like, like this, the sky is crying seems like it wasn't raining.
I felt like the I did feel like the fire in the
dead. Isn't her mother dead? Because it was the blacksmith. We never saw her mother, did we?
No, I don't think so. I think your mother might have been dead. But also, I did find it strange that she was referring to eels as fire in the water. It seems very coincidental that they just happen to have eels as well. But so that's kind of why
I would never describe eels as fire in the water.
Right, but I also wouldn't just randomly have eels laying around in barrels too. So I feel like that was.
I wouldn't question that for medieval practices. Like I don't know.
Well, it's just like the description. So that's actually a great tool. I think that Baby probably was foreshadowing in some sense, maybe, because this episode was co-written by Moffat, but it was Jamie Matheson who did like Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline. But
Mummy on the Orient Express.
Yeah, those were two really good ones. So I feel like he came out kind of strong. I'm gonna get off tangent, so I better get back on. Where was I?
I have no idea.
My brain is like dying right now. Oh, the prophetic baby, Jesus baby. I'm sorry, that's very insensitive. I probably shouldn't say that. Yeah, no, I'm siding with Ryane on this now.
Prophetic baby.
I think
it was just plot device, baby.
I think it was part of, like, before that they did say, like, oh, babies can sense danger, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just sort of playing with that a little bit further than just sensing. Like, they have some foresight into what might be coming. I did really like the line, like, right after that, where Claire is like, you decided to stay. Like, I can tell because the baby stopped crying. Like, which to me was I guess, the clincher that it was prophetic. Like, a decision was made in the doctor's head, and with that decision, he changed the future.
Yeah.
So the baby stopped crying because it wasn't in danger anymore.
It probably saw the doctor saving the day, and then like, oh, okay, I can stop crying now. I like it. So I don't like it, but I like it.
Rivers the baby confirmed? Or
Disagree.
Is the baby the doctor? Is the doctor finally going to meet himself as a baby?
Well, we have confirmed that Rivers going to make an appearance. So.
That I doubt it's going to be in baby form.
Well, they didn't say that it was going to be the same actor.
No, they did.
No, I think the doctor's going to meet himself as a baby.
I'm just saying.
Which was a joke in Community we just watched.
Yeah, it was.
That's what made me think of it.
FaceTime married himself and it was a baby.
Always make sure to get a DNA scan of your potential husband and wife. But, okay, any other, before we wrap things up, any other thoughts or comments on this episode? It was pretty good. Yeah, I think I think I had built up the whole, like, face reveal a bit, and it wasn't quite as, like, life-changing as I expected it to be. But I think this was probably the most fun episode we've had this season so far.
Yeah, I'm really, like, the part that's made me the most excited about next week is, I thought they had a really cool shot, and kind of an atypical Doctor Who shot, of Maisie, like they were just circling around her and the background was changing, just like
that was
a
weird.
passing of time. It
was
was really weird.
Most like fantastic like cinematography thing I've seen in so long.
What?
Yeah,
it was weird and trippy.
Weird. It was weird and trippy, but it was like, to me, that was the point where I was like, oh, like they like Maisie can act, like
and
she's a great little Arya, and her facial, just the amount of expression that she put into that shot, like she changed from this whimsical little girl to this like human that has seen way too much, like just through that, which I think was the best showing of the passing of times. And it was like she now has this darkness in her that I like the Doctor does. I'm not saying it to like an evil that she's going to be the next Dalek or whatever, but like there is that sort of darkness that hangs around.
Maybe
like,
she's the Minister of War.
Yeah, maybe.
That
like the Doctor has too, of just being around too long. Like she totally, and just in her facial expression and her eyes, you could see this crazy shift. But that was the only point of the episode that I was like, okay, like they needed like a really solid actress for that. Like,
no, that was like the.
Otherwise, I thought Maisie was a little underutilized.
Yeah, that was 10 seconds worth of like just pure gold, because it conveyed it so well, like the passing of time to her face, to like the actual star and sun like whipping around constantly is really good. But I think we'll definitely see Maisie's acting chops get used a little more in the next episode.
In the next episode. Yeah, she has to be a more developed character. So.
Well, yeah, and even in the clip, she says like it sounds like the Doctor is following her around, not vice versa, which is interesting.
It looked like the Doctor was like tracking her to me at the beginning of the preview.
Yeah.
Like the little beepy thing.
Yeah.
Goes ding when there's stuff. This stuff just happens to be Maisie.
Yay.
Yep.
I can't remember her real name, so I'm just gonna, or her character's name. So I'm just gonna keep calling her Maisie. Shielder. Or Arya. I'm just gonna call her Arya.
Arya works. Shielder
She's basically Arya.
Shielder is like the dumbest name I've ever heard ever. I don't know who came up with it.
So is your face. I don't know, maybe the Vikings?
Maybe.
So I did just learn, what's the tall guy? What did he keep calling him?
What?
The Doctor made up the name for.
Frick. I had them on the list of my notes, but they got deleted, so I'm out of it.
Like he was calling him like Lumpy or something.
Yeah.
Lofty.
Yeah.
I just when he said my name's not actually Lofty, his actual name is Bro. According to this transcript I was reading.
That's fantastic.
So Lofty's better.
I also felt like that was just pretty much Rory incarnate. It's very strange, especially with a nose. He's a very Doctor.
Oh my God, the baby. That's gonna end up being like
Amy's
baby.
It's like my name's
whatever happened to no Amy's baby was River.
Yeah.
That's right.
Whatever happened to their baby? Were you just about to say that?
I was like, wait.
Do you watch this show?
Kind of. So yeah, anything else anything else you want to say before we?
I have something. I always have something. What time are we running here? Oh, okay, good. I've got another 15 minutes. Everyone ready? I'm going to do a monologue now, based on my interpretation of a Dalek dancing with a Slovene.
As long as there's no chipmunk voice, okay. I'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I'll just do farting noises. No, I'm not doing the chipmunk voice.
Just 10 minutes of that.
The quickest way to lose people.
That's how we end that. Yeah. Yes. Bye, followers.
But I wanted to say something about the writer, because this is the third episode now we've seen in 2 seasons from him. And
this is a co-written episode, right?
Oh, which one?
Co-written?
Yes, Stephen Moffat and Jamie. It's either Matheson or Matheson. I'm going to say Matheson because
the other thing to remember, just for this is a little inside baseball, but TV isn't really written by one person.
There's co-writers, there's editors.
Just go watch 30 Rock.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, like one person. I mean, it does vary show by show. That is true. But it's essentially one person will do a the first initial draft after spending a lot of time in the writing room. One person has to do the grunt work, and that's normally whose name's put on it. But that doesn't mean that it's not the same as like someone writing a book.
No.
Where one person wrote it, one person came up with all the ideas. It's a lot of, I don't want to say group think, but it's a lot of group brainstorming. And yeah, ultimately someone had to type it all up and put it on the page, and then then it goes through a lot of revisions after that and stuff like that. I'm not trying to take anything away from the person who wrote it, but I'm also just a lot of people don't seem to understand that idea, especially when they just, when TV is not necessarily their thing, but their thing is one specific TV show. So just a little insight into the idea. His thing
isn't just one specific TV show. He does have a couple other episodes written for.
Oh no! I didn't mean the writer.
Right.
I meant fans.
Oh, okay.
I meant if someone's parents is something watching a show and they see a writer, they're not gonna think, oh, like a lot of people put work into this, whatever. They're gonna think it's the same.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just trying to say a little, give a little bit of.
Yeah, I just think I saw this one actually co-credited.
Yes, this one was co-credited.
Yeah. So, but
at
any rate, so that's just a little bit into the writing world of TV. But.
Well, what I was gonna say, it felt like the Doctor in this episode in particular, like, was very I don't know, it felt very tropey to me. I felt like the Doctor used a lot of like things that weren't really, I didn't feel natural, and I couldn't figure out if I wanted to attribute that to like Jamie's not 100% clear understanding of like what the Doctor is, because I feel like everyone has this idea of like a man running around with a sonic screwdriver in a blue box, and it takes like someone who's watched the show for 30 years to really like fully develop their idea of it. And I don't know. I didn't feel like the Doctor was 100% there this episode.
Well, like I said, I think they've ran into a very, very interesting place where at times this season the show has been really borderline making fun of itself. And I think this episode was too, and I really like this episode, but I think the show has gotten to the point where it can't keep doing the same tropes over and over and over again without, like, it can't do them, and it knows it can't do them, so it's trying to find ways to freshen itself up, and by doing that, it's making some of what it used to do look ridiculous.
But it's in the same vein, it may be trying to freshen up, but, like, the last few episodes, I feel like I've been watching, like, Tennant-era episodes. Like, not just with how, mostly with how the Doctor is acting, actually. He's acting very much like Tennant's Doctor. More dark, moody, like on the verge of a break kind of Doctor. But even just the episodes are sort of, I don't know, they remind me structurally of it. And like the decisions he's making are more similar to past episodes.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a step in the right direction. I think that was a strength of the show.
So me and Willie are both over here.
Yeah.
I think Moffat last season took the Doctor through like a very like emotional journey, so to speak. Like the Doctor just getting back from like having a 900-year war on a planet and like just seeing battle all the time. Like I feel like he's kind of shocked from that in a sense, and he's just like, fine, people die. I get it. I'm just gonna try and help people when I can. And I feel like going through and like figuring out like whether or not he was a good man, and like finally reaching the climax of like, oh, I'm just an idiot, Like I feel like he's kind of worked his way through that whole like therapy session season, and it's like, okay, I guess I can be a little bit more like myself. But
yeah, I don't know if he, with the exception of this episode, if I would have said he lines up that much with Tennant, but. I mean, obviously, this episode, I feel like they really tried to hit the.
Well, I mean, they literally put Tennant in the episode.
Well, yeah,
so.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying prior to this episode, I don't know if.
I'm pretty sure I said it last week.
I'm saying. Well, I know that's what you feel. I'm trying to come up with if what I think.
Your own feelings. You're not allowed to have your own feelings.
Well, no, I'm trying to think who Capaldi seems most like.
I would say he seems like himself. I feel like he's actually a very...
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one, actually.
If we're doing like a whole like doctor meter, like I feel like he is like skirting his meter back from being very gruff to being kind of centered and like silly in a way, but also kind of caring. Like he cared very, very strongly throughout all of last season. He just cared in a different way. So I feel like this caring was more characteristic of Tennant. But I don't think it's any different in his doctor. I just think it's the way it's been presented.
Yeah, and I mean he even said it, like, I got emotional, I got carried away. Like I feel like his blip as Tennant was almost like a regression this episode. Like I don't think it's been a continual thing. It was like I got really emotional and really upset and acted like I used to, and now I'm back to being old and grumpy.
It's like he's had 1,000 years to learn better in a way.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. I mean, yeah, that is true. We don't really know how much time has passed since Tennant and Capaldi of his own time.
Well, yeah,
true. Who knows?
Well, he's reading a 2,000-year-old diary, so it can't be 3,000.
Wow. Yeah. That is true. But
and I love the fact that he pulled off the alien information from that. He was like, "Oh, I've been reading my diary, and I ran into these blood-sucking things before."
You can't expect him to remember everything. But cool. Anything else, guys? Any other
I'll stop.
Thoughts
I'll stop
for the week?
myself. I don't.
Okay.
Save some for next week.
Yeah, save some for next
I've
week.
got more. It's always more.
So cool. Well, yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll see what happens with Arya.
Hopefully at a more normal time.
Yeah, we don't have anything. Yeah, we don't have anything. No more Disney trips or anything going on.
I can't go to Disneyland.
I mean, you can go to Disneyland if you want.
You better come visit us.
Yeah, you better come visit us too.
I'll go to Disney World. That's the better one.
No, that is true.
It is, but Disneyland's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's still a lot of fun.
Sure it is. That's the person who had to go there.
Cool. So, well, thank you. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Bye.
Adios.